Hello, everyone. How are you doing? It is Ethel here, your psychotherapist here on He Matters. Thank you so much for tuning in. And today we're starting our first session, which is quite short, on what is depression and trying to understand it. Now, He Matters is a platform where we're talking about men's mental health. So the symptoms I'll be talking today are generic symptoms that people experience in depression when they experience depression. But as we go along, we're going to be tailoring it down and talking a little bit more about how these symptoms might present themselves to men and also what the vulnerabilities are. So we'll move in that direction. But I just want to greet you and say hello, makadini, murise, kwa muru koko, ivuke njani, baoni, kilode, and yes, it's so good to have you guys on here, but let's go straight into it. So depression, what is it? So depression is one of those common mental health problems that is experienced by many people. And people experience it in different ways and in different forms. And some people will say, actually, I feel this overwhelming sadness over me. I feel like there's a heavy cloud that is looming above all over me. And some people will say, I just feel everything is an effort, like going to work, like taking a shower is an effort. Everything is such an effort, but I don't know how to tell people. I don't know how to describe it. I don't even know what's going on with me. So those are the common ways that people would describe depression or describe the symptoms that they are experiencing. But a lot of the times that when people do experience them, they just don't know that it's actually linked to depression. So I just want to go into the symptoms so that we understand them in a little bit more depth so that you know what these symptoms look like. So let's go into some of the symptoms of depression. Now, remember, depression presents itself in different forms, but also with different levels of severity. So we have mild and severe. So these symptoms can present themselves in mild or in a severe way. So let's talk about them. So the first one is, like I said to you, consumed with sadness. And some people just feel tearful, even I just feel like crying, but I don't really have a reason or have anything to be crying about. So some people describe that. So that tearfulness, that sadness. And then there is the fatigue and the tiredness. So just feeling really tired, just feeling no energy to do things. Another one of the symptoms. Insomnia, a lack of sleep, not being able to switch off and sleep. You know, when you go to bed and you want to just get into that deep sleep where you actually dream and you wake up and you're ready for the day and you're ready to start the day. But some people who experience insomnia, they struggle to actually get and settle themselves to sleep. So it's difficult to get into that place of just sleeping. Remember, sleep has to be restorative, meaning that when you go to sleep, the quality is what we're looking for, not the quantity. We're looking for the quality. So a person can go to bed for 6 hours and have really good sleep, and someone can go to bed for 20 hours and just wake up feeling extremely exhausted. So it's the quality that we're after. But in future sessions, we're going to talk about insomnia and sleep hygiene, where I'll talk you through exactly how you can restore your sleep so that you get restorative sleep. Sleep is like recharging our battery, but insomnia is one of the issues and one of the symptoms of someone who may be experiencing depression. Now, the other side of it is sleeping too much. So you'll find that a partner or a parent, someone who's sharing the household with you, will say, you know, all he does is spend time in bed. He's in bed all day. And remember that if a person is in bed all day, it doesn't mean that they're getting quality sleep. They could be in bed because of that tiredness that they're feeling, but they really can't just switch off, and the quality is just not there. So undersleeping, oversleeping, both of them are symptoms of depression. Yeah. Pessimistic thoughts. Now, key one. Pessimism. So just imagine a lens where you've got a lens, the same way you'd wear your glasses, and you've got a lens, and in that lens, all you're seeing is the negative side. Every single thing you're just filtering is negative. Filters, all you're seeing is negativity. So you're never actually looking at things in an objective way. So a friend doesn't greet you, oh, they don't like me. Someone says, I'll call you back later. Oh my God, they don't want to be my friend anymore. Or someone says something to you. So anything that is said to you, anything that is done to you, it's always rushing to that negative pessimism. Again, that is a sign. And maybe some of us may have spoken, or have people that we know that we speak to or have spoken to in the past, where no matter what you say or what you do, or try and make them see things from both sides, they really are still very much stuck on the negative and pessimistic side of things. And so imagine that lens and that filter of just pessimism. Again, another symptom of depression. Inability to make decisions. So being stuck in just that indecisiveness. Should I go? Should I not? Should I do this? Should I not? Should I eat this? Should I eat? It's an apple, an orange. I don't know. Being stuck in that place of just not being able to decide and make decisions, and it's all an effort. Tagged along to that is lack of concentration. Not being able to concentrate. So you might watch TV, you might actually be engaged in a conversation, but you're not actually concentrating, you're not following it through. And as you're not following it through, you're not retaining the information. So information is coming to you, but it's just almost like just bouncing back. And you're not really retaining it, you're not really following it, and that inability to concentrate. And some people notice a lot of this at work. So this is could be one of the symptoms of depression. When one experiences that. The other one is a loss of interest in doing things, so isolating yourself. So just staying on your own or wanting to be on your own. There's nothing wrong sometimes now and again to just want to have that space and that time to be by yourself. But when it's kind of all the time, and speaking to someone is an effort, and it's like, I don't want to talk because it's too much of an effort, just leave me alone, I just want to be in my own world, and it's kind of all the time, then it's a problem, and it could be a symptom of depression. So just isolation and a lack of interest in the things that you used to enjoy. So you might find that you used to enjoy doing certain things, like maybe sport activities or visiting a friend or doing a hobby, and you just have no interest in doing it anymore, just switched off completely from doing any of that, and you just don't want to do anything. You just want to stay in one place, or just stay in your bed, or stay in your room, and you don't want to talk to anyone. Again, that is a key symptom of depression, and we mustn't ignore it. And then one which is really one of the big symptoms is when someone starts to experience suicidal thoughts. So this is where we have got hopelessness creeps in, extreme hopelessness. Now, when someone is feeling hopeless, it means that they can't see any way out. It's like they're in a dark pit. And when people are suicidal and they describe it in an analogy, they say, I'm in just the darkest pit where I cannot see any light at all. So when a person is experiencing suicidal thoughts, usually it's when they feel they're in that dark pit, and it's like, I don't know where to go, I don't know what to do, I can't see a light, I can't see anything positive. And tagged along with it is the lack of purpose and a lack of that sense of belongingness. So I don't belong. Like, where do I belong? I don't belong anywhere. My family don't want me. People around me don't want me. In fact, what is my purpose? No one sees any value in me. So that's where all these things start to seep in. And when they do seep in, they really intensify that hopelessness. And when the hopelessness really intensifies, that is where people then go and take the action to go and end their lives. So when we notice that hopelessness creeping in, or someone is talking and questioning, what is the meaning of life? Why am I here? I don't want to be here. Then it's a sign that possibly they're having suicidal thoughts, and we must not ignore it. This one is quite a tricky one when it comes to people from Black and ethnic minorities, because one of the things that we know that men are not really that good at doing is communicating, or maybe talking about their feelings, rather, if I put it that way. So it's hard to really tell that someone is experiencing all these things because then they don't talk about it. But what we can do when I talk in other series is, what are the behavioral things that you would notice in that person to trigger you to then help them. And remember, someone who's feeling suicidal, all they need is just that pin size of hope just that little glimpse of hope. And if you're able to just give them and find a way of engaging with them to just give that hope, and you become their lifeline, and they can, if they trust you, then they can also just talk to you about what they're feeling, and then you can help them in whatever issues that they're facing. So remember, these symptoms come in mild to severe. And when they're actually more on the severe side of things, we see a lot of the symptoms more in a physical way. And we'll talk about that in future series. Now I want to leave you with this. We've talked about the symptoms. I've not gone into so much depth with the symptoms. I will do in our session tomorrow. I'll go deeper into the symptoms so you actually really understand the symptoms, but also understand how they position themselves cognitively in your thoughts, and also behaviorally, and also physically in your physical body. How these symptoms actually manifest and actually position themselves, so that if you're experiencing any of it, then it's time to talk to someone, or even go to your GP and seek help. So that is the key thing there. So I want to leave you with this. Life is like a rose on a stem with the thorns on it. So that is what life could represent. So the reason why I'm using that analogy is to say to you that we need to look at things from an objective perspective. So life has got the thorns, and these thorns sometimes come when we least expect them, when we don't want them. No one likes thorns because no one likes the pain that's associated with the thorns. But sometimes life will throw us those thorns. So when life throws us those thorns, it's important for us to think about, how do I then find the support to help me with this pain that I'm experiencing? So that's where things like therapy, help, or talking to someone, or just engaging in a community of people, praying, or doing whatever you need to do for support. So we must really maximize on the support structures that we have. And then we mustn't lose sight of the petals. Life has got many beautiful things and many petals. It might not look like it, but when you actively seek to look at and to really think about what could be those petals in my life right now, you will find that there are things that are positive. And it could be just, you know what, I've got a roof over my head, and I can open my front door and actually get into a comfortable, warm house and into a nice bed. And actually, I've got my kids around me. I can cuddle my kids, or just those things. All those are the positive things that we lose sight of. And I want us to really engage and start to reconnect with those things that are close to home, but sometimes we don't see and we don't engage in. So those become the petals. It becomes nice when we're able to come home and have a really good conversation with your child about how their day was, how their school day was, or maybe help them do their homework or engage in those kind of things. All those are petals. But we don't really sometimes see them as petals because they're so close to us, but we're kind of thinking about bigger things that we want to achieve and we want to do. Let's start with the things that are closer to us. So life has got both. So we mustn't say to ourselves that everything is glorious and everything is beautiful, because it's not. There are things that are hard that we have to face, and life will throw them at us. But there are also things that are really good that we need to embrace. So I want us to really think about both. What are the good things? And how do I really start to put the support in place for the things that are hard right now? But how do I acknowledge and maximize on the things that are good right now? So that's what I want to leave you with, guys. I'll see you tomorrow, where we're going to be expanding on what we started to talk about today, which are the symptoms. But tomorrow I'm going to specifically be talking to you about the vulnerability. So who's more susceptible to actually being depressed, and what are the things that you can do to start to really help yourself to not be in that category of being susceptible to having depression. Thank you so much, guys. And I look forward to speaking to you tomorrow. You take care and have a good night. Bye-bye.